This is Weather Authority Weekday.
Hey there, good Thursday morning. I am Meteorologist Michelle McCormick. Good to be with you on the Weather Authority Weekday show right here on News4JAX Plus. All right, yeah, if you've been with us all morning long, you know we've been talking about the really cold temperatures that are coming our way. Some of the coldest this year. Yeah, it's the 15th of January, so it's still the coldest this year. Okay, follow me with that. Anyway, let's talk about what's happening here at the airport. Well, clearing skies, which is great news. We had that rain roll through yesterday ahead of the cold front, which is pushing through now, bringing with it some super windy conditions. You can just see the rocking and rolling here of the camera just bouncing around here at the airport. The winds are west-northwest at 19. So that's the wind speed, not even the gusts that we're seeing up to maybe 30, 35. I'm going to show you that in a moment, but it's 51 degrees. We were down like 48 this morning, and now we're at 51, maybe 53 today. So not a lot of movement with our temperatures. Morningstar Marina, look at that flag. It is whipping west-northwest winds here at 15, 51 degrees also here in Mayport. So small craft advisory, not seeing a lot of boats out there on the waterway today. It is not safe. And then here at the St. Augustine Marina, the view from our White Room sky cam, you can see the trees rustling at the bottom there, the very tall palms. And again, the marina not looking very active in this scene either. And then another marina. They're actually putting a boat in the water here at Doctors Lake Marina. Look at that. Backing it in. There's a fire truck there. Hope they're just hanging out and that there's nothing wrong there. But yeah, they're backing that boat in. Maybe they're backing it in to park it because, again, small craft advisory throughout Thursday and into the evening for our water location. All right, here are the current wind speeds across the area. So the airport's clocking in at 20, Mayport's clocking in at 15, even Green Cove Springs clocking in at 18. These numbers are really tiny. 16 up there in Callahan. But look at some of these gusts up to 30 almost at the airport, 25 in Mayport, 23 in Stark, 22 in Lake City, 24 in Waycross. So these gusts are just adding a little bit of a bite to that temperature. While it's 50 degrees outside, we don't really have a wind chill factor at that point, not until it gets below 40. But you know, when you're outside and that wind, and it's already 50, so it's kind of cold. When the wind, it's just like that extra chill on your face. So we're going to be having these windy conditions throughout the next few hours. So here's a look at some of the forecast wind gusts throughout the day. Thursday afternoon at 6:45, this is after sunset. We're at 30 miles per hour winds at the beaches, 29 there in Mayport going into the evening. Now, once the freeze warning begins at 11 o'clock tonight, we'll start to see these winds kind of taper off into the morning, except out at the beaches where it's still showing 19 by 6:45. And that'll be chilly with temperatures down in the 30s. And then throughout the day, those gusts really do start to die down during the next day or two. And then they kick back in on Saturday into Sunday when another front approaches. So we'll have windy conditions over the weekend as well. Those gusts are here for a little while. Okay. Excuse me. All right. Wintry mix coming our way. This is for Sunday. So we're going to go through the next few days because the freezing and the frost we want to talk about for Friday morning, coldest temperatures of the year. So freezing inland, hard freeze for several hours, temperatures in the 20s. Approaching 30, staying below freezing for several hours, frosty conditions across the entire area. This is for southeast Georgia and northeast Florida. Then we move through Saturday. Another front approaching Saturday. We're going to have warming temperatures. But then if you look out to the west, look out towards Montgomery, and you'll see that kind of hazy blue. That's indicating a wintry mix. So cold mixing with rain and precipitation. Now, we were talking about this yesterday. Richard was on yesterday afternoon talking about the opportunity for some wintry mix, not freezing rain, but actual flurries. Now, the opportunity for flurries, you know, it's there. There's like a 30 to 40% chance that that could occur. However, our ground isn't cold enough for it to really sustain any accumulation. So this is even if it makes it into our region. But the futurecast here on the GFS, this is the American model, do show that the possibility does exist for snow flurries through the Panhandle, in through Alabama near Dothan, in through Albany, Georgia, and then maybe towards Waycross and Macon staying to the north. Now let's zoom in a little more. This is by 2 o'clock Sunday afternoon, and I added wintry mix on there because there is a line between the rain and the possibility of flurries. Right now, staying to our north of Brunswick, north of Waycross, north of Brantley counties. So again, this is just one model. This is the GFS. All right, takes us into Monday, which is going to be another cold one as the cold air really does start to sink in. This goes out 7 days. All right, next graphic. This is the Euro. These are two graphics that we really keep an eye on during hurricane season. So if you recall, when we go back and forth during hurricane season, we talk a lot about wobbling, trajectory, paths. Well, this is kind of the same concept. So if you think about it, these two models are somewhat in agreement that yes, on Sunday we're going to have some rain. On Sunday we're going to have some cooling temperatures. What it's not in agreement with is this wintry mix. So this is the Euro showing a little more aggressive opportunity for flaky weather to move into where Charlton counties perhaps, but still staying just north of Waycross, just north of Homerville. That blue really does indicate that wintry mix. So meanwhile, south of there, we will have rain, but the temperature won't be cold enough for a freezing rain. It will be cold, no doubt, but freezing rain, not likely. So of course, we're going to continue to monitor this over the next several days going into Saturday and Sunday. But right now, let's bring it back home, talk about the most important thing today. It's present. Let's talk about what's happening presently. And presently, we're seeing temperatures take a dive in Waycross through our southeast Georgia counties, really in the 40s now. And we're barely in the 50s here in northeast Florida. And we're barely going to make it out of the 50s, the low 50s today. These are projected highs. 48 degrees in Waycross. Again, not a lot of wiggle room. I think in Waycross, actually, let's go back because I want to go back to this. I think in Waycross, that 48, we've already seen it. That was this morning. So temperatures are going to continue to drop beyond what we've already seen this morning, except in Jacksonville because that front hasn't really passed through here yet. But it's going to be coming through right at that midday when we have the warmest temperatures of the day. Even with all the sunshine that we're having, the heat's just not going to be there to warm us up. And then we'll start to drop once the sun sets. And I'm going to show you that. So temperatures across the state right now, if you're traveling into Orlando, it's going to trickle down into Central Florida as well, even trickling down into Miami. All right, this is what I want to show you. These high temperatures today indicating the super cold weather, and you can see the dip, right? So go from Minneapolis to Chicago to Louisville, Nashville, Atlanta, and use Atlanta as that point. And then go back north, Charlotte, Washington, New York. That's the dip where the cold is. Pittsburgh, 23, Detroit, 20. That's that cold front that's going to slowly dip into Georgia. We're already starting to see it. So Atlanta's 37. We just showed you Waycross is 48 or 43 now, and slowly going to make its way into northeast Florida. So I just wanted to point that out to you about the high temperatures. All right, tonight, once the sun sets, we're going to take a dive. So 5 o'clock, we're at 50. 8 p.m., we're at 42. 11 p.m., we're in the 30s already, and that's when that freeze warning goes into effect at 11 p.m. So here's a look at that freeze warning. It covers all our counties of southeast Georgia, all our counties of northeast Florida, beginning at 11 o'clock tonight until 9 a.m. So what does a freeze warning mean? Well, it really means that temperatures are going to be in the mid-20s or lower. Inland hard freeze. Pipes need to be insulated on the exterior. You can open up the cabinets. Chris, our meteorologist, put a great article on our website the other day. Look, just search, cold weather tips on our website, and you'll find this freeze information about pipes. You insulate the ones on the outside, you cover them, you wrap them, whatever you need to do, let them drip. Turn off your sprinklers tonight going into tomorrow morning. We're going to have frosty conditions anyway. You don't want to exacerbate that with your sprinklers. Coastal freeze, temperatures between 27 and 32. I think we're going to be closer to that 32. That's the cold weather advisory going into effect at 4 a.m. for northeast Florida, as well as temperatures will stay in the mid-20s. Wind chill and frost. Now this is going to be, that gust will cause a wind chill, feels like in the 20s. Frosty conditions will be prevalent throughout the entire area. So you'll have frost on the tips of your grass. You'll have frost on your rooftops going into tomorrow morning. So here are those low temperatures for tomorrow. All right. Whew, look at that. 22 degrees in Waycross. These are not wind chill factors. These are not feel-like temperatures. This is actual Fahrenheit that we're projecting for the morning hours. 26 at the airport, 23 in Orange Park, 30 in Green Cove Springs, some of the coldest we've seen in quite some time. As a matter of fact, here's the 7-day forecast, but you know what? I'm going to skip this. We're going to come back to that. I want to show you the JAX winter facts real quick. Coldest ever day in history in Jacksonville from the National Weather Service, January 21st, 1985. It was, Ryan?
7 degrees.
7 degrees.
Unbelievable.
So cold.
Too cold.
Totally agree with you. The coldest day in 2025 was January 12th, and it was 27 degrees. So we're looking at 26 for tomorrow morning. Record low for tomorrow, January 16th, is 22 degrees, 99 years ago. How cool would it be to break that record? Well, it would be cool, right? Like actually cool. Like literally cool. All right, those are just some fun facts. All right, here's your 7-day forecast though, folks. So today, maybe 53, dropping down to that super cold, dangerously low temperature. You're gonna wanna make sure if you have kids that they have a ride to school, that you wait for them for the school bus, they're extra wrapped up. You're gonna want a scarf for their face, glove for their hands, hat for their head, wool socks for their feet, and a nice thick jacket. If you have an elderly neighbor, check in on them. Make sure they have blankets. Make sure they have a jacket. Also, check your plants. They're very hardy here in Jacksonville and Northeast Florida, Southeast Georgia, but you got to cover the vulnerable ones that you want to see make it to the spring. Little brown tips by tomorrow won't hurt them. It usually will burn off and come back. Also, we already talked about the pipes, so very important. If you use a space heater to stay warm, you must keep it away from anything that's flammable. Plug it directly into the wall and make sure that it is turned off when you're not in the room, unplugged. But that high tomorrow for Friday is warmer than our high today, so we'll warm up nicely, 30-degree swing there. Saturday morning looks chilly, but we warm up nicely on Saturday ahead of that front. Sunday morning in Jacksonville, 37, Northeast Florida, could see that wintry mix. We're going to be watching that closely with that 30% chance of precip. Not warming up much though. MLK Day is on Monday. Lots of people have the day off. Thank goodness the school kids are out. Temperatures again diving. We're going to see some freeze warnings go back into effect surely over the next several days, next 5 to 7 days. All right, folks. Coming back, we're going to take a quick break, but coming back, we're going to talk about some of this winter weather that thankfully we don't see here, such as wintry weather that went through Chicago yesterday. Perhaps you heard Midway, O'Hare had issues at the airport due to wintry weather. Also in Nebraska, we had some crashes, terrible crashes on the interstates, as well as wintry weather. So stick around. When we come back, we're going to talk about weather that's not here, but weather that is impacting lives elsewhere. Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Weather Authority Weekday Show. All right, so yesterday, some crazy snowy weather up in areas through Chicago, Indiana. Look at some of these totals. This is snow totals. 9 inches of snow in Cleveland. That lake effect snow is no joke. And then also Detroit had just over 3 inches of snow. Buffalo, 5 inches of snow. You know they were happy to come play football down here last weekend. I mean, they won the game, but the weather is drastically different. You couldn't pay me all the money in the world to live in Buffalo, New York. I'm sorry, folks. I just couldn't. I lived in Colorado, went to college there. It was the coldest spot in Gunnison, Colorado. But snow like that is some cold snow. So that's the past 24-hour snowfall totals for those folks in that region. Now, Chicago saw over an inch of snow. But you know what? Let's go to Indiana. We have some video from yesterday of a car crash in Indiana that we want to show you. Northwest Indiana experienced the most intense snowfall due to lakes effect snow bands that went through there. Look at this. They had warnings and advisories all day long. It was 6 to 12 inches of snow through there. The impact was very heavy snow rates, 2 to 3 inches per hour with strong winds, blowing snow, localized whiteouts, and crashes on the Indiana toll road throughout the day. Super scary, very deadly. I do hope all those folks are okay through there. Now let's go to the other snow video we have from Indiana. Look at this. I mean, I cannot imagine. It is so scary to drive through snow like that. It is so dangerous. Fog, we have fog here, but snow like that is just plain old treacherous. I mean, you just can't. I mean, snow tires, chains, whatever you got to help you with traction on the roadways through here. And it's blowing sideways. If you look at the headlights on this video, it is literally snow blowing sideways. So they had tremendous amount of snowfall in Indiana. If you have friends up there, reach out to them, make sure everybody's okay. All right, let's go to Chicago. We have video here as well. They had snow that went through Chicago, creating slick and dangerous conditions for their commute. They had a ground stop at O'Hare Airport yesterday due to the weather. Dozens of crashes and standstill on the Tri-State Tollway. They had a few inches of snow. It was just so crazy, these conditions. I mean, Chicago gets really cold because, again, they're right there on Lake Michigan. And then all these lake effect snow. I mean, I showed you the snow totals in Cleveland. 9 inches of lake effect. I mean, right there on the Great Lakes. So this is a current radar of this area, and that snow still affecting Buffalo, areas of Cleveland, up into the peninsula of Michigan, not so much, but into Canada through Montreal, Quebec. And hold on, I want to move this real quick because I'm kind of interested to see all the way up into this region. New York State still getting some snow through here, even areas in here. Let's see if I can zoom in to this space up here, because I believe this is like into Vermont. Yeah, I mean, check it out. Oh, goodness. Still Canada there, and then into Vermont here. Oh, goodness. All the way up I-95 into Maine. So that's just some crazy stuff. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to show you, compared to what's going on up there, let's talk about what's happening right here. Let's go back to our radar. It won't let me. You know what will? This will. All right, maybe not. Okay, system don't want to work for me, but that's okay. All right, so Ryan, let's go back to the headlines and talk about the temperatures that are happening for us right here, right now, going into tomorrow. Inland hard freeze is likely. Freeze watch goes into effect beginning at 11 o'clock tonight, 11 o'clock tonight until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. You're going to want to make sure everybody's well taken care of before the sun sets. You have a few more hours to prepare your plants, cover them up, prepare your pets. If you have indoor or outdoor pets, make sure they're taken care of. If you have farm animals or livestock, just make sure they're in a sheltered place like a barn or a stable. You're going to want to make sure the pipes are well insulated, covered outdoors and dripping. Turn off the sprinklers. Also, make sure that any vulnerable people are taken care of. Check in on your neighbors beginning tonight. Temperatures tomorrow morning are going to be some of the coldest we've seen all season. So just be aware of that. And I want to go to the 7-day forecast yet again here. Weather headlines. In just a moment, I'll go to the 7-day. Coastal temperatures up to 32 or down to 32 degrees, even as far out as our beaches of the Golden Isles and into Northeast Florida. Inland hard freeze, where we'll see temperatures in the mid-20s or lower for a couple hours in a row. Wind chill, yeah, we'll feel the wind chill. The winds will die down overnight. Widespread frost across the area. All right, again, the 7-day forecast shaping up like this. Lows, and this is just the airport low, 26. Southeast Georgia will be even colder than that in the low 20s. And then, of course, Saturday morning is still going to be cold. Sunday morning is still going to be cold. Monday morning, we have a bunch of cold mornings ahead. This is well below where we should be for this time of year. This Arctic blast is no joke, and a second front pulls through our area Saturday into Sunday with those wintry mix talk. You know, it's a lot of chatter. Come back to me if you don't mind here, Ryan. I'm going to wrap it up and tell people, you know what? Let us be your trusted source. Have your app handy. We update it. We send out push alerts. The National Weather Service sends out their push alerts when there's watches, warnings, advisories put into place. When rain or even, God forbid, snow approaches your area, our app will automatically fire off those alerts to you wherever you are. So definitely download the Weather Authority app. We want to be your trusted source. We know you have a lot of options in the market. There's a lot of chatter on social media too. A lot of people just trying to get a lot of clicks. And we want you just to be able to tune into your favorite folks. Hopefully that's us here at News4JAX. In the meantime, tune back in at noon. We'll have a full look at your forecast, and Richard will be in this afternoon beginning at 3:30. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Be prepared for the cold weather and a freeze warning starting at 11 o'clock tonight. See you later. Have a great day.
See why every day more people are choosing News4JAX, Northeast Florida and South Georgia's #1 source for local news.